Greetings, fellow scions. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of a new series playing Roots of Yggdrasil. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the tutorial, please use YouTube chapters. Welcome everybody to a brand new series of Roots of Yggdrasil. So, Roots of Yggdrasil is a clever mix of deck building, city building, and puzzle solving as you are tasked with trying to survive in a world rocked by Ragnarok. You empower your flying ship and sail from island to island, collecting materials to build a sanctuary using your magically empowered scions, and make sure to avoid threats and dangers that would dispel your progress. You live viewers are going to be able to vote on some of the major decisions, and as per usual, this airs on YouTube. So, right at the start here, I am going to be doing a little bit of a tutorial, but I have played before, and then we'll get into it, and we'll start our gameplay loops. Man, it is a mess out here. We're nowhere near our destination, but we're already out of fuel. Don't worry, Thras. I'm picking up an energy signature in the soil here. There must be a sapling nearby. Seems like that's our only option for refueling then. Everyone spread out and look for the source. I ma'am! The villagers always just scream, I ma'am. I find it somewhat endearing. So, a little bit of the tutorial. Typical hold left mouse and drag or WASD, right mouse to rotate, and middle mouse to zoom in and out. Aha! I knew it! Ragnarok might have torn the world tree to shreds, but its saplings are still full of power. It's also useful to note the game uses a lot of symbols, so the sapling symbol is this little broccoli-looking tree. No kidding. If we tap into the energy this one's roots generate, we'll be up and flying again in no time. Sounds like a plan. I'll work on housing buildings for the scouts right away, Chief. So there's a bunch of different types of currencies as you build your settlements, but the first one is population. It represents your settlement's growth. You build housing buildings to increase your population, and every 5 population you unlock a new building card. So this is a bit of a deck builder. Next, we have supplies. They are spent to play cards. Most cards, some cards are free. These are the backbone of your economy. Use cards to place buildings, spend supplies, and use your cards. And then you can also rotate buildings with Q and E. So up here, every 5 population you get a new card, and then the supplies right now, to read this UI, I have 45 supplies, and I get 20 supplies every new turn. And that can be modified with building synergy. So we will deploy the sturdy housing. And the shape and design of the houses are random, and generally you want to cluster your houses together. So I am going to deploy 4 houses to raise the population. And that will earn me a new card. Each housing building we build increases our population, and the more our population increases, the more objective rewards we'll be able to unlock. Right, and this objective will let us make barracks for our troops in order to reveal the island's different zones. So up here, anytime you reach a population threshold of the next 5, you get a new card. And in this tutorial, it is a guaranteed barracks, but often it is a choice of like 3 or 4 or so. So this barracks requires it to be placed next to at least 3 houses, and you gain a flat 5 military and then 2 military per house that it is adjacent to. So deploying this barracks here would give me 13 military as a result. One thing to note, barracks and most of these types of buildings cannot be built adjacent to one another. Meaning that if I build a barracks here, I can't build a barracks here. But if I build one here at the outside edge, just close enough to capture all of the houses, I can build another barracks over here and it won't interfere with the sphere of influence. And that is a huge gameplay mechanic that you will see time and time again. So the barracks will be plopped over there. And up here, as you can see, now I have 18 might. So I can use 10 of the might to send out scouts to discover the new lands. Our scouts have been deployed to investigate that territory. They'll be done with the reconnaissance in 1 turn. To complete a turn, press the button at the bottom right of the screen. It also lets us collect our accumulated resources and income, so don't hesitate to use it, which is here. So then, we have revealed more of the map. Hey Chief, look over there. Seems like we're not the only survivors stuck here. A caravan, huh? Might be worth checking out. Adventures like this can grant rewards or resources that speed up our progress. Clusters of wooden carts have come to a standstill in Vanaheim's meadows. Many have broken wheels in need of repair. Thrasir is quick to lend his aid, earning the caravan's gratitude. As payment, the elders teach him how to construct long-forgotten industry buildings. So it unlocks Iron Dig and Logger Camp. Hey, cool. They gave us industry building blueprints. I bet they'll come in handy. They exploit nearby resources to generate income each turn, like supplies and might. Just remember that a given resource can only be exploited by one building at a time. So here is an iron dig, and you can build iron digs next to iron nodes to exploit them for income. And this will add supply income per turn. And what it will do is it then will tie up the iron deposit, which is now exploited, so that it can't be exploited twice. And the Logger's Camp is very similar. It's 2 supplies per turn, tying up 3 trees. So I'm going to stick it here next to these 3 trees. So now, as you can see, my income is 1, 2, 3 for the logging camp, 5 for the iron mine, and then the base 20 that we have. I'm also going to deploy a second barracks. So here's what I was saying before. 2 barracks next to one another doesn't really work. Most buildings of the same type can't be built within the same sphere of influence, but these sphere of influences, the range differs. So some buildings have huge spheres of influence, some have tiny spheres of influence. But either way, I'm going to build this barracks here. Building the barracks there gives me some extra might, which allows me to explore. Now, it's also worth noting, this cliff elevation is high enough that it blocks building. It's unreachable ground. So a huge part of this game is to try to find paths to your objective. So the objective right now is to build a amenity building within the sphere of influence of the sapling. And I probably need to explore here in order to get there. And there we go. Oops, skipped that accidentally. First, it needs to bloom. Saplings all have unique conditions that need to be met in order to flourish and generate Itir. This one requires an amenity building within its aura, for instance. So I am going to build a few houses near, but not inside the sphere of influence, right? If we fill up everything within the sapling's range with just houses, there's not really anywhere that I'm going to be able to place the proper building in order for it to bloom. So what I'm doing here is building a bunch of houses in order to hit the next tier of population to unlock a new card. And then with that new card, fulfilling the requirements for the sapling so that we can win the tutorial scenario. So now, this is a shrub. It provides supplies. It needs to be built within the range of at least 3 houses, and it is an Ononi building. So we have collected enough to fill our deck. Whenever we have a turn to complete, we'll discard the cards in our hand and draw 3 new cards from the draw pile. And when our draw pile is empty, we shuffle the discard pile back into the draw pile. In short, the bigger our deck, the more options we'll have at our disposal. But we'll also need more turns for cards to return to our draw pile. Keep that in mind. There we go. I have the shrub, and I can build the shrub here, covering all of the houses I just built, and within the sphere of influence of the sapling, fulfilling its blooming requirements. Refueling complete. Good job, everyone. And according to these charts, Ragnarok's lost sanctuary should only be an isle or 2 away. We're almost there. No time to waste then. Let's board the ship before any dark fog gets here. I am. So we gathered the requisite amount of seeds to complete this loop, and we can proceed. Now, normally in a regular loop, not a tutorial loop, there is a path difference, and I'm going to leave those choices to you guys. But here, I am stuck just doing the tutorial jump. So, we're here, and I'm going to go to this bonus artifact. So, a Maker's Hammer. Gain 10 might when 3 buildings are created in 1 turn. So these artifacts persist for the length of the loop. The loop is like, it will be a little bit more obvious later on, but the loop is essentially a sequence of campaign areas until you complete it or return back to home base. It will make more sense in a bit. There we go. We have the Maker's Hammer, and then we're going to go to the Learning Steps Vanaheim. Damn. Getting here took more fuel than I thought. We'll need twice as many seeds to reach the next island. Don't worry, Senna. I'm detecting multiple signals in our vicinity. Let's start by blooming the closest sapling. So, here is the closest sapling, and it needs 3 houses nearby to bloom. And then this sapling needs a magical Itir building to bloom. One thing that is worth noting, which is a bit of gameplay theory. Every time you deploy sturdy housing, the cost of supplies increase, which means that if you have saplings that require houses, you probably don't want to overinvest a bunch of houses in the starting area, because then it will exponentially increase the cost of building houses once you get to these saplings. Just food for thought. So let's start our little Viking village here. And we want to probably build at least... let's get a new card. I'm going to build enough houses to unlock a new card. And then probably deploy... There's no trees nearby, so I can't deploy the logger camp, but I can at least deploy the iron dig to exploit the iron deposit there. So new card. So this trading post needs to be built within range of 2 military buildings, and it gives 3 supplies per house. The color of the cards is sort of the rarity, and let's pick that one just because it's the first gold card. It's also worth noting that you can skip if you don't want to pick up a new card. So if you don't like your options, you can always skip, and then you have a certain amount of re-rolls per campaign loop. So if you don't like your options, you can always re-roll as well. And I'll put a shrub here. A little bit of supply income. And I do have the might that I need to start the exploration. Trying to initiate the explorations as early as possible is ideal. One of the things that you see up here is the timeline. For each turn that you take, time advances. And if you leave the island during the day, you'll gain extra spare time in the travel screen. And then if you take a very long time, so this is when dusk happens, you lose that spare time, essentially. So there is a time pressure for completing this. So you have to weigh the options between... some of the campaigns will have more trees than is necessary. So for instance, you'll go to an island and you need 2 to refuel, but there'll be 4 saplings. So there's always the option of trying to get all 4 saplings. But it's possible to fail the islands if you're overtaken by the dark fog and run out of time. And it's also possible to burn so much time that you lose campaign progress. So there is a few different pressures to be balanced. So here's the exploration. And there is rain. Oh great, rain, my favorite. Ma'am, rain clouds are a type of threat that will prevent us from building structures on affected areas. This could be a big problem. I think I know a way to deal with this. Let's start by building an observatory. So the observatory is a special building that allows us to draft action cards. These are used to perform special abilities that will help us reach our goal. As far as I know, the observatory doesn't have a... It doesn't link with really anything, so you can put it off to the side, away, so that it doesn't get in the way of synergy. There, this observatory will generate Itir every turn, and we can use it as a resource for our fate-bending abilities. Leave that part to me, Chief. I'm going to smite those rain clouds to smithereens. So here is another currency, Itir, which is like magic. And you gain a certain amount of Itir per turn, and you can then draft action cards to spend it. And every time you use the observatory, the cost goes up. So right now it's 10 of the 25 that I have. And I am going to unlock Smite. So Smite is a temporary card, or it's a card that will stay in my hand. So that if I unlock it, at the end of every turn, it doesn't get shuffled into my discard pile. But using it destroys it. So it doesn't go into the discard pile, it goes out into the exhaust. And we can use Smite to get rid of the rain clouds. Poof. Alright, next up, we can put the logging camp down. Now that we've unlocked that area with the trees. And then this sapling needs 3 houses nearby. Easy peasy. Let's give him 3 houses. I don't have enough supplies for the 3rd house. And then... yeah. So I am going to end turn so that I earn that. Let's get more iron dig out for income. And then the 3rd house to bloom the tree. Done. Now that the tree's bloomed, we can explore to the last sapling. And then to help out with income, I can deploy another logger. And here is the final area revealed. Interesting. It seems this last sapling will need to be powered by an Itir source to bloom. I see one over there to the right. All we need to do is to set up interconnection pylons to build a relay between Itir source and the sapling. Yep, we can even use bloom saplings as an alternative power source in a pinch, so we'll leave it to you, Senna. So here is the new card given, the interconnection. So it's worth noting that there's a few different types of power sources. So the inter source for this sapling can be used to bloom this sapling. And it doesn't actually destroy the sapling, it just ties it up. Or alternatively, this is yet another power source over here. So I'm going to use this one, but it doesn't really matter what you use. And what we're doing is we're just building connection pylons between the two, like that. Nice going, Chief. We're officially cleared for takeoff. Good. That Lost Sanctuary can't be far now. Everyone hang in there just a little longer. Back to the Holt. Wait a minute, Sunna. This is the place. We made it. There's no doubt about it. This has to be the Holt of Prophecy. The place in all of the realms protected from Ragnarok's destruction. Are you sure about that, Lif? I was kind of expecting this Lost Sanctuary to be less of a fixer-upper. Better this than another Draugr pit or some empty rock teeming with dark fog. Besides, it'll be a lot cozier once our greenhouse is set up. Right. And it looks like there's a sapling already growing by the mountainside too. Why don't we build it there? Rebuild the greenhouse. Looks like these ruins still have sturdy foundations, and we have plenty of matter to build stuff. Time for me to work my magic. So we're spending matter, one of the currencies that you earn through campaign and questing, to build the greenhouse. Ta-da! What do you think, Lif? Well, the dome is sloppy, and you have no taste when it comes to decorating. But I can make this work. Sloppy? Do you have any idea how hard it was to make curved glass in these conditions? Easy, Thras. You know we can't cut corners on a greenhouse. Without it, we'll have no food and no fuel, or worse. Exactly. Good botanists are essential for surviving the world's end, and I'm the best botanist there is. Just watch. So this is the greenhouse, which is its own unlock and research tree, if you will. You unlock stuff through collecting acorns while playing. And the first one is required. So we're going to be spending the golden acorn that we collected through the tutorial to allow the tree to grow and its roots to expand. See? Just like that. We're swimming in Aether. Now, all we need are acorns from Yggdrasil's branches to expand the roots. What we really need is a workshop. I can't build a whole settlement without one. But we'll need a lot more matter for that. No choice then, we'll have to set off on a loop and retrieve more supplies from the nearest island. Lif, stay here and make sure the greenhouse is operating at full capacity. We'll definitely need to refuel once we're back. Alright, but you two better be careful, okay? Don't you worry, nothing will happen to the chief with me around. Let's board the ship and set to sail. Ah, Chief! So we have these objectives. And you are now free to explore the 9 realms, use the ship to go on loops, gather resources to upgrade the Holt, and cover the truth about Ragnarok. So here is the greenhouse, and it's worth sort of, let's say, memorizing what it's going to cost to upgrade for new cards. So in order to get a watchtower, I'm going to need a golden acorn. In order to unlock Thrasir's upgrade for a passive ability, I'm going to need 2 golden and 2 mossy acorns. So the reason I am pointing this out is you guys are going to have the decision ultimately to direct where the ship goes and what sort of acorns to seek out. And then ship speed upgrade, increasing the spare time at the beginning of each loop, which is 6 golden acorns. So depending on what you guys want from the upgrade tree, a lot of it requires golden acorns, and then the Thrasier upgrade requires some mossy ones. So there's golden, mossy, mineral, and gleaming. There's also blueprints, which unlock buildings for the Holt. We'll get into that a little bit later once we have a workshop. And then my portrait here is blocking matter, so let me hide myself for just 1 second. We have matter down here, which is 25. And that is a material that will be used to upgrade Holt as well. So this is the Holt, which is the sort of home island. And you can build and improve the Holt. In order to build the workshop, we need 40 matter, and we only have 25. So we're going to need to go out to gain more. So here is the preparation for the next Holt. We can pick our scion. Our scion right now, the only option we have is Thrasier. And he has a special ability to create an additional housing building for free. And he has to charge up that ability, so it's not something he can use constantly. And then housing buildings will be sturdy housing, which gains population when placed. Thank you for tuning in to Roots of Yggdrasil, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 31st. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com also has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you on next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow scions.